So let's talk a little bit about this whole thing about I hate you, don't leave me. If you have, one of the biggest fears that I just read was for people with BPD is abandonment, right? The biggest thing they fear is not being loved.
But it's almost like you push people away till the point where they want to abandon you.
Do you want to, like, you know, that's obviously, that's really fucked up, right? So it's like
sabotage.
Hello? No little things being, is this like high school?
What?
Let me see.
Oh.
It's 3 for $1 at Dollarama. She was asking about the chocolate bars because they're good. They're fake Kit Kats.
If you want love, right? The love that you want is unconditional love, right? Meaning, and I'm talking especially people with BPD, the love you want, unconditional love, meaning that even if I get nasty and mean and say the most cruelest things, you have to still love me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? But are you offering that back? No, because you just got triggered by one small fucking thing and you're lashing out at them and you hate them.
Yeah, it's true.
So isn't that very...
See, we offer it when we're not in that mental state. And then we expect it done to us when we are in that mental state. So it's like, we'll give you all the love when we're okay and we're not having a crazy moment so that you will love us in the moment of our
craziness?
Insanity. Yes.
But your moment of insanity...
Might be a whole lot.
No, but should you not be as forgiving as you want them to be when their moment of insanity was a little tiny mistake?
But that's the problem with the mental illness, that you don't give a fuck about anybody else but yourself at that time, really. Well, for me personally, I don't know how you feel, but for me, I only care about myself and nobody else at that time.
It's all internal for me. Like, I'm like, why wouldn't they want me in their life? Like, why won't they forgive me? Like, am I that terrible of a person? I should just go jump off a bridge. Like, that's just my mindset.
Yeah, so you basically really just put it all on yourself. Whereas the way that you are with the BPD is you're like, well,
I blame everybody. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Yeah.
Like, and if I do, like, I have had a few incidents where I've like raged at some people, but I don't like that side of myself. And whenever that happens, I'll go like weeks without even like looking at myself because I'll just hate myself. Like,
doing what you did.
Yeah, for like lashing out. Like, oh, I should have lashed out at myself. Like I usually do.
I think we could kind of both go both ways, because there's times where I've been depressed and I want to just hide away from the world and sit under my covers and not see anybody. And I don't want anyone to talk to. And I don't, even though I'm angry and I'm feeling those emotions, it's like I just don't want to talk to anybody about it. So there's times I feel like that, or there's times where I'm angry and I'm like, what trouble can I look for today? Where can I go start some shit?
So the part about being very impulsive.
Yes.
Are both of you still very impulsive in your life? Are you still doing things? I use it to my
advantage now, but yes.
How so?
Like, I am an artist as well as a writer, so I use impulse like in my art. I love abstract things. I like to express myself using art as like a medium, rather than words and knives and shit.
Okay. And for yourself, Fiona, and again, it's a personal question. You can answer if you like. Have you left your partner?
So we live together, but right now, currently, we're on a little...
I knew when she said so.
We're on a little bit of a...
We all have a lot in common.
I need to just be alone for a bit. I feel like until I find myself and fix myself, I can't be okay for anybody.
So you have left?
Left mentally.
So you guys are still together?
Physically, they live together, but mentally...
Okay, hold on.
Do you sleep in the same room?
Mentally and physically not together, but like in the same house.
Okay.
That's different.
So...
We're like co-parenting right now. That's how I feel.
Okay, so your partner and even your previous partner... you left him.
Yeah, no, he was a psycho.
So was he like a narcissist?
Yes, and
why do we always attract those kinds?
So you guys attract narcissists or codependents?
Yeah, because we like to be controlled and like to like
or you also like to control. Because codependents, will never give up on you.
Yeah, emotionally manipulating them. Yeah.
So do you always play the victim? Is that you're always the victim? You're ever the bad guy?
I am. No. I am the victim sometimes, but I'm mostly the bad guy.
But do you acknowledge that? So do you apologize?
I am the villain.
Do you apologize?
Yeah.
So your ex...
Yes, I do.
No.
You're a liar. I haven't apologized to you.
No, you know what? You know what? I believe that Luma, because Luma takes it internally, that she apologizes a lot more than you would.
Oh, for sure. She seems a lot
I
more
don't think you
apologetic than me.
apologize. I think you think that you do.
No, I
Yes.
do, but I'm one of those apologies that's like,
Not an apology.
sorry, but
that's not an apology.
Yes. Well, I try.
But that's not an apology, right? That's justifying what you did.
Yeah.
That's
my
not an
problem.
apology. So that's why Cheyenne's saying you don't apologize.
That's why, exactly.
But I try to
And-
apologize.
and-
It's just, it doesn't always work out to be an apology.
So do you feel that the reason that you don't apologize is because of your black and white thinking, where if you were to acknowledge you were wrong,
I
then
think
you're
you're
all
onto
wrong?
something for sure.
Because if you
But
admit you
I'm
were
never
wrong,
It's
Yeah.
always them.
yes.
yeah.
It's always the kids. It's always everybody else.
It's always best to look at it objectively.
Never me.
Because if you take out the personal parts, it's a lot easier to dissect and realize like who's right and who's
Yeah.
wrong.
But I think that that's one of the things that people with BPD suffer with, because if you were to admit that you were wrong, then that means there's some. That means that
That
all of a
means there's
sudden
something
now.
wrong with me.
Well, now see, so you also do the splitting on yourself,
Yes.
where you idolize yourself or you hate yourself. You don't allow yourself to have that gray area that, hey, I'm human, I can falter. So
Very
that's why it's very hard for you to apologize. Whereas it is the most human thing to do. Because what happens is if you're in
The
a
most
relationship
Canadian
with
thing to
someone,
do.
it's a what?
Most Canadian thing
Canadian
to
as
do.
well, but most human thing, because if you have a relationship with someone, like your sisters, for example,
Yeah.
okay, and you did something very hurtful, and if you were to apologize, what that does is it makes the relationship stronger, because the other person feels like my feelings have been validated. This person knows that they did wrong, so they respect me and care for me, and now you become closer.
Mhm.
Whereas somebody with BPD feels, if I apologize, they're going to think that I'm wrong all the time, that I'm a horrible person. You don't want to accept that, because now all of a
that
sudden
happens.
you're going to have that label of, oh, she was wrong.
Yeah.
And you're afraid that the other person is going to use that against you.
Yep.
You were wrong. So would your ex, obviously you've devalued him completely.
Which one?
Your ex, not the one the one you live with now is not your ex.
Okay. Okay.
You still live with him. He's still
Okay.
not your ex yet.
Okay.
The one that you're done with.
Yeah.
So you don't talk to him, obviously.
Only about children.
That's it.
Yeah.
But he's completely blacked. Like you
Oh, yes.
hate his guts.
Yes.
He's the fucking devil.
Pretty well, yeah.
But is he really the devil? There must have been some good quality if he had kids with him. He couldn't have been just.
Sometimes I
He
think
had
you're
high
like
sperm
really
count.
drunk, and then you're like,
How many
Then
kids do you have
you-
with him? If you don't want to ask
two.
him. So you couldn't have had 2 kids if he's the complete devil. I mean,
No,
let's be
but-
real here.
okay, but
And that
the
means you're the
second
devil's
kid, I'm not going to
mistress.
say it was an accident, but it was like we weren't together, but then I got pregnant, and then I was like, okay, well,
Well,
maybe
no,
we'll
if you got
maybe we'll work
pregnant,
it
you
out.
were together.
No, because I just hooked up with him when I was drunk, and
I know,
then
but that's still being together, right? I mean,
no, that was
together.
just having a quick hookup and not planning it out very well and not putting a condom on. But
No, but if you were together, listen, if you were together with him when you were drunk,
yes,
it's not as if he found you in an alleyway drunk and picked you up
No.
and took you home.
no, I would hope not.
You guys were drinking together.
yeah, I went
Okay.
there to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you went to hang out, so you were together. Like, you
I
don't.
don't want to be reminded of those days.
No. I'm
Sickening.
no. My point here is not that. I'm trying to say that what you perceive to be reality is not always reality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You've over the years have made this story, and that is now reality.
Yes.
Because that's what you repeated over and over again. In opposed to, and I'm not trying to judge you here, but in opposed to taking responsibility and saying, hey, I was with him. I went there. I wasn't drunk when I got there. He didn't find me in an alleyway and take me back to his house. I was hanging out, and then I started drinking.
Can I get drunk now?
No, you cannot. So are there other people in your life that you have completely devalued? That are close. I'm not talking about like coworkers. I'm talking about like family members.
Yeah.
And is there any chance of them getting back in your good books?
Well, for the ones that are alive, yes.
And what would they have to do? This is very important, right? Because one of the things that I've read over and over again online is people who are like, my mother's got BPD. I try to be loving with her and help her. She's a fucking nutcase, but she's my mother. And now she has completely discarded me. Won't take my calls. She's blocked her shit. When I go to her house, she doesn't answer the door. I love her. I'm concerned about her. How do I get her to value me again, to get me back into the idealization stage. Like what Cheyenne said, that yes, when she texts you, she got Chat GPT to help her and choose the right wording. If you have a if you have a loved one, if you have a relative that you have completely discarded, a sibling, cousin, uncle, aunt, whatever,
Sister-in-law,
good example.
Throw her under the bus.
I don't know if you want to talk about it. If you don't, we don't have to.
I don't care.
So do you mind if we ask you what happened with the sister-in-law?
Which one? Because they're both
No,
drug
I'm talking
addicts,
about Kirsty.
so-
Kirsty.
Please
Well.
just explain who Christy is and what happened.
She is his sister, and she lived in my basement, and she does a lot of drugs, and she kind of made me relapse, and I started doing cocaine again. And then I didn't like her in my life because I realized that she wasn't a good person. So I didn't want her around.
Okay, so I mean that's like, I don't blame you.
We're also missing the part where you guys fought constantly.
Yeah, I have a feeling you're leaving a lot of details.
Yeah, there's a
out.
lot
Because
of details.
listen, right now what you've told me is she's a coke addict.
Yeah.
She got you to do cocaine, and then you told her to leave.
And
then
if you know
Okay.
she was a coke addict, why'd you let her move into your basement?
because I was trying to be nice because everybody else kicked her out because nobody liked her
Oh, you
Then why-
had love for her at one
the
point.
time.
Yeah, you had love for her at one point.
Yes, but then she started to trigger me, and I didn't want her in my house anymore. And then my personality.
How does
started
how does she trigger you?
Because she was just a fucking cokehead.
It was little things. For example, I'll give you a great example. One
She'd come
day,
flying up and wake me and my kids up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
to tell us that like this great story.
no, or it would be something as simple as she would wake up and her dog would get loose outside, and she would blame Fiona's daughter and be like,
Yeah. So listen, we're talking about a drug addict. That's a bad example.
Oh, no.
I don't blame you to block that individual and
There you
kick
go.
them out of your life.
I gave a bad example.
I'm talking about like maybe your sister or like your uncle, like someone
Yeah,
who
good people.
good people. How's that?
Those people. See, this is the problem: is that once I have a freak out and then I'm mad at people, not everybody has the same timeline. So it's like one person, it could be like 2 days later, and then we could talk, and then we're okay. Whereas sometimes somebody will message me like a month later, and they're like, "Hey, like, can we talk? Are we good?" And then I'm like, "No, I still don't like you." It's never promised how much
Okay.
time there is.
So
for
when
someone.
you get triggered by one of these people,
Yeah.
Do you know what a rupture is? So
like my brain.
no. So let's say for example, like we talked earlier, we
Yeah,
said
I
that there are certain the tone of somebody's voice
Yeah,
or the expression on their face.
I think that's a bit
or their
more
body
related
language.
to PTSD, but yeah.
But even with BPD, for example, if someone was to, let's say you don't like conflict, if someone's going to confront you about something and there's a disagreement, you don't want to keep discussing it because you get very, very sensitive and you may have done something wrong and that's why they're calling you on it. But you want to be like, you know what, fuck it. I want it to be dropped, but they won't drop it. And now your anxiety starts up.
So you put up this wall almost?
Not right away. So what happens then is because of what took place and you got triggered, a rupture happens.
Yeah.
So when a rupture happens, the old wounds come out. All the old wounds.
Oh, that's like the burning rage that starts to come.
Yeah. So whether it was unfortunate when you got raped, whether it was your situation with your parents, whether it was the your failed relationship that you had, the guy used you, abused you, whatever, all of that rage comes out. Right? Yeah. And all of that rage that comes out is now put on this poor soul who caused the trigger.
Yep.
So it's like, you piece of shit, you're the devil, you're the
Yeah.
this, you're the that. So it's not, is that really fair on the
not fair,
other
no.
individual? Because the other individual's like, wait a minute here, we were just arguing about you ate, the last piece of chicken in the fridge and you fucking, I was going to come home hungry. But you're like now thinking about all of the negative shit that you've gone through.
Like how you want to shit in their pillow because they ate your last piece of chicken.
That's Amber Heard right there. Amber, that's what they call her, Amber Turd.
oh my God, that was a little psycho.
It all started over chicken, is what you're saying.
I'm really hungry.